I'm going to show how to use LaTeX embedded in a Google Doc to improve a Google Doc and make equations look good while still using Google Docs features to make the overall document more readable and look better. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to have an add-on. You can go to Get Add-ons and find some LaTeX add-ons. I've already installed Auto LaTeX Equations, which I like. It's a good choice for embedding single equations a line at a time, where you're just putting equations in, but most of your text is going to be done in a Google Doc. So we're going to start off here. I'm going to have these things typed up ahead of time to make sure that they work. So start with using LaTeX in a Google Doc is the title of the document. Let's say I want to make that bold and underlined. Now, I'm going to solve this equation. If I go to render equations here, it's going to look for that dollar signs to know the extent of a LaTeX. So we're going to solve this equation, log base 2 of x plus 7 plus log base 2 of x minus 3 equals 3. Jumping back to your Algebra 2 days. So the first step in solving the equation is exponentiation, right? If we remember, if we raise 2 to the power of both sides, we do that because if a is equal to b, then 2 to the a equals 2 to the b. So we get this if we render. Right? We can make that bigger if we want, just by sliding it out. It's a nice feature of doing this in a Google Doc. So now we have this, and you guys may remember now that if we're raising 2 to the base 2 log, of a number, so if we're taking 2 to the base 2 log of a number, we get the number back. So because this exponentiation, this plus sign is multiplying here. So if we render this part, we get that. And again, let's say I want to make that bigger to make it more readable. So now we're down to something quadratic. So we can multiply, FOIL both sides. We'll render, I'll make this one bigger, right? Now we probably want to subtract 8 from both sides. And we'll render again. Let's say at this point that I had found a mistake in this line. I could go over here and choose de-render, and it'll give me the LaTeX back. And I can render it again if I need to. Right? Now, we want to use the quadratic formula. I'm going to go over here and choose font size 24 when we render instead of automatic. You can see you can make it larger. Let's say we decide that's a little too large. You can shrink it down if you want to manually. Let me go back to automatic for size selection. So now we have quadratic. Let's try to simplify that quadratic a little bit. All right. Now, notice here again we have a fraction, -4. That slash PM is plus or minus square root of 16 plus 116. All that's over 2 for that fraction. So let's render. And now that brings us down to the solution. Go back to font size 24 for this. And notice when I change font size 24, when I'm rendering, I'm only rendering the particular thing that gets rendered that time. So the other ones that are already rendered aren't changed to font size 24. And there we go. X equals -2 plus or minus the square root of 33. Again, we can go back and de-render things. So I'm going to de-render that equation. I could re-render it if I wanted to change it. And this document allows us to, in this way, Google Docs allows us to create a document and use LaTeX to render the equations while we're still typing in and using all of the features of a text editor like Google Docs.